Last month, a close friend of mine, just turned 67, was rushed to the hospital with sky-high blood pressure and severe chest discomfort. Everyone was shocked. He doesn't smoke. He walks every day. He even watches his portion sizes. But when the doctors reviewed his diet, one thing stood out. The foods he thought were healthy were quietly hurting him. And that's the scary part. After 60, the way your body reacts to food changes. Certain foods that never caused a problem in your 40s or 50s can now lead to inflammation, blood sugar spikes, high cholesterol, joint pain, and even heart issues. Worse yet, some of the most dangerous ones are labeled as heart healthy, low fat, or natural. But they're packed with hidden ingredients that can slowly wear down your body over time. And many seniors eat these foods every day without realizing the damage they're doing. That's why in today's video, we're going to look at 5 common foods that could be silently destroying your health if you're over 60. I'm not talking about junk food you already know to avoid. These are everyday items, things in your pantry or fridge right now, that can throw your system off balance when your body needs support the most. And if you stay with me until the end, I'll also share healthier, senior-friendly swaps you can make starting today to protect your energy, your heart, and your future. Let's start with the first food on the list, one that's often seen as a healthy choice, but might be doing more harm than good. 1. Healthy breakfast cereals, loaded with sugar. For most of my life, I thought I was starting the day the right way. A bowl of cereal with low-fat milk, maybe a banana on the side. Quick, easy, healthy. At least that's what the box said. Words like whole grain, heart healthy, low fat. So I kept eating it, day after day. But in my 60s, I started noticing changes. I felt tired just a few hours after breakfast. I'd get shaky, irritable. My doctor told me my blood sugar was creeping up, closer to pre-diabetic levels. And I couldn't understand why. I wasn't eating donuts or candy. I was doing what I thought was right. Then I looked at the label. That healthy cereal had 12 grams of sugar per serving, and I was eating 2 servings without realizing it. Add in fruit, flavored milk, or juice, and I was unknowingly starting every day with the sugar equivalent of a dessert. Here's what most people don't realize. As we age, our bodies become more sensitive to sugar spikes. Even a little too much in the morning can cause a crash later on, leading to fatigue, brain fog, cravings, and over time, insulin resistance. My friend Joan, 68, told me she ate Raisin Bran every morning for years. When she cut it out and switched to a protein-rich breakfast, she felt more alert, her joint pain lessened, and she even lost a few pounds without trying. So what can you eat instead? Try oatmeal made from scratch, topped with nuts and cinnamon, or Greek yogurt with chia seeds and berries. Even scrambled eggs with a slice of avocado can be a game changer. You don't have to give up breakfast, you just have to stop letting sugar run the show. And while cereals are sneaky, they're not the only foods hiding behind misleading labels. Let's talk about something else you've probably been told is good for you: low-fat packaged foods, and the real damage they might be doing inside your body. 2. Low-fat or fat-free packaged foods. When I turned 60, I started taking my diet more seriously. Like most people, I thought cutting fat was the smart move. So I filled my kitchen with low-fat yogurt, fat-free salad dressings, light snacks, and reduced-fat frozen meals. I thought I was making good choices. Less fat had to mean better for my heart, right? But then something strange happened. I wasn't losing weight, I was gaining. I felt constantly hungry, my cravings were out of control, and despite eating light, my cholesterol actually went up. That's when my doctor explained what was really happening. Most low-fat or fat-free foods replace natural fats with added sugar, sodium, and artificial thickeners to make them taste better. So while they may be lower in fat, they're often higher in the very things that spike blood sugar, raise blood pressure, and trigger inflammation, especially in older adults. My neighbor Susan had the same experience. She switched to fat-free yogurt thinking it was a healthy snack, but she was unknowingly eating 18 grams of sugar in each cup, nearly half her daily recommended amount. And over time, she developed insulin resistance, which led to more fatigue, belly fat, and blood sugar issues. The truth is, our bodies need healthy fats, especially after 60. Good fats from foods like avocados, nuts, olive oil, and fatty fish support your brain, reduce inflammation, and help you absorb important vitamins like D, E, and A. Once I swapped out the fat-free stuff and went back to real, whole foods with healthy fats, my energy improved. I felt fuller longer, and my blood work actually got better. So next time you're grocery shopping, don't be fooled by the low-fat label. Read the ingredients. Look for hidden sugars and chemicals. Sometimes what's left out of a food is less important than what's added back in. And speaking of added ingredients, there's one group of foods that packs in salt, nitrates, and preservatives. Let's talk about processed meats and the serious risks they carry for seniors. 3. Processed meats, like bacon, sausage, and deli slices. Sunday mornings used to be my favorite. A few slices of bacon sizzling on the stove, scrambled eggs on the side, and maybe some toast. It smelled like comfort, like routine. And during the week, if I didn't feel like cooking, I'd grab a few slices of deli turkey or heat up a sausage patty for dinner. Quick, tasty, familiar. But as I got older, something started to shift. I was having more digestive issues. My blood pressure crept up. My joints ached more often. And after one checkup, my doctor said words I'll never forget. You've got to cut back on processed meats. I was surprised. I wasn't eating fast food every day. But I didn't realize just how dangerous those harmless slices of bacon or lunch meat could be. Processed meats are loaded with sodium, nitrates, preservatives, and inflammatory compounds that can wreak havoc on your body over time, especially if you're over 60. They increase your risk of high blood pressure, heart disease, colon cancer, and even cognitive decline. My friend Harold, 73, was diagnosed with stage 2 colon cancer. He ate deli sandwiches almost every day. His doctor told him flat out, "Your diet likely played a role." I knew I had to make a change. Now, instead of bacon, I reach for avocado or eggs cooked in olive oil. Instead of processed cold cuts, I roast my own chicken breast and slice it for the week. It takes a little more effort, but my body thanks me for it. I feel lighter. My blood pressure is more stable, and I've cut out a major source of hidden inflammation from my life. Just because something tastes familiar doesn't mean it's safe anymore, especially as your body becomes more sensitive with age. And there's another familiar item that many of us use every single day when cooking. Let's take a closer look at vegetable oils and how they may be silently fueling joint pain, brain fog, and inflammation. 4. Vegetable oils. You use every day. For most of my adult life, I cooked with the same bottle of oil that sat on my kitchen counter. Canola, sometimes corn oil, sometimes soybean. It was cheap, easy to find, and every recipe seemed to call for it. I never questioned it, but somewhere in my mid-60s, I started feeling different. My joints felt stiffer in the mornings. My energy levels dipped faster during the day. And no matter how healthy I tried to eat, that bloated, sluggish feeling wouldn't go away. It wasn't until my daughter, who's a nutritionist, visited one weekend and said, "Mom, you're still using that oil?" I shrugged. "It's what I've always used." That's when she explained, vegetable oils like canola, soybean, corn, and sunflower are ultra-processed and loaded with omega-6 fatty acids. In small amounts, omega-6 isn't bad, but most people today consume way too much of it. And that imbalance leads to inflammation, which worsens joint pain, foggy thinking, and even increases your risk of heart disease. The scary part? These oils are in everything. Salad dressings, packaged snacks, even so-called healthy granola bars. My neighbor Paul, 70, was dealing with arthritis that just wouldn't let up. He switched from vegetable oil to olive oil and avocado oil. Within weeks, he said the difference was noticeable. His stiffness eased up, and he felt more mobile. So I made the change too. I tossed the canola and replaced it with extra virgin olive oil for cooking and drizzling, and avocado oil for higher heat meals. And I started reading ingredient labels more carefully than ever before. The difference? My digestion improved. My joints weren't as achy, and I felt clearer, more balanced. Sometimes the damage isn't loud. It's quiet, building up meal after meal, year after year. And speaking of quiet damage, there's one more food mistake many of us make without thinking. Let's talk about diet sodas and sugar-free products, and why they may be doing far more harm than good. 5. Diet sodas and sugar-free products. For years, I thought I was making the better choice. I gave up sugary drinks and switched to diet soda. I swapped my regular snacks for sugar-free cookies and low-calorie yogurt. The labels said all the right things: zero sugar, no calories, diabetic friendly. It felt smart, responsible, but over time, something didn't feel right. I was still having intense sugar cravings. My energy would crash in the afternoon, and I started noticing brain fog, those little lapses where I'd forget what I walked into a room for or lose my train of thought mid-sentence. I brushed it off at first, but then I started reading. Artificial sweeteners like aspartame, sucralose, and saccharin, common in diet sodas and sugar-free products, can disrupt your metabolism, harm your gut health, and even affect brain function. My friend Lisa, 69, was drinking 3 diet sodas a day. She thought she was doing great by avoiding sugar, but her doctor noticed her blood sugar was still unstable and encouraged her to cut back. After just 2 weeks off the diet sodas, her cravings lessened, her energy improved, and she said, "I didn't realize how addicted I had become." The problem is, these sweeteners trick the brain. They tell your body to expect sugar, but when the calories don't follow, it leads to confusion, spikes in hunger, disrupted insulin response, and over time, a higher risk of weight gain, memory issues, and even stroke. What worked for me was going back to basics. I swapped diet soda for sparkling water with lemon or cucumber. I replaced sugar-free snacks with whole fruits, nuts, and dark chocolate in moderation. And I trained my taste buds to stop craving that artificial sweetness. The first few days were tough, but the clarity, focus, and steady energy I got in return made it all worth it. Sometimes the things we choose to cut back on end up doing more harm than the original. Now that we've uncovered all 5 hidden food mistakes, let's wrap things up with a few thoughts that just might change the way you eat and feel for the rest of your life. Final thoughts. Your food should heal, not harm. By the time we reach our 60s, we've lived through food trends, diet fads, and changing health advice. We've seen the low-fat craze, the sugar-free boom, and labels that promise energy, balance, and longevity. But here's the hard truth. Not all foods are serving your body anymore. Some of them, especially the ones labeled as healthy, might be silently taking more from you than they give. And the cost? Your energy, your clarity, your heart health, even your future. But the good news is you're not stuck with these habits. By removing just a few of these harmful foods, processed meats, sugary cereals, artificial sweeteners, you create space for healing, for real nourishment, for strength, energy, and a body that supports the life you still want to live. You don't have to overhaul everything overnight. Start small. Swap the diet soda for sparkling water. Trade that fat-free yogurt for plain Greek yogurt and berries. Choose olive oil over vegetable oil, because every small choice you make today matters more now than it ever has. So let me ask you, which one of these 5 foods surprised you the most? And which one are you ready to let go of starting today? Leave a comment below and share your answer. I'd love to hear your story. If this video opened your eyes or helped you in any way, please give it a like. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss more helpful tips to stay strong, healthy, and informed at every age. You deserve to feel better, and it can start with what's on your plate. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.